to present the updated draft of the Simsbury Sustainability Plan. Everyone on this committee has seen work in progress drafts. We've been workshopping it with the various town stakeholders. For example, Jason Casey at Education, and of course, Tom Roy at Public Works. And we are feeling very good about bringing this before the Board of Selectmen on October 15th. So I would love to know who would plan on being there to support, not asking anyone to speak, but just, if you are planning on maybe coming to be in the audience and give the moral support, that'd be great. If you, if you do have any questions about that, let us know. And the hope here is that the Board of Selectmen will endorse the plan, if not at the October 15th meeting, at least in the very near future. They might have some questions that we might have to work through. And then really seeing some progress being made in one key piece of the plan, which is getting into school solar. Wonderful. I'm seeing some comments coming in the chat about people that'll be there. So that's awesome. Chris, if you don't mind maybe making a note of those. I don't know if the chat's recorded as well. So
make a note of
the folks who will be attending.
Yeah, I've got Mark so far.
Great, thank you. There's a few coming in the chat.
And Baird and Jen.
Yes, thank you. And Susan. So there have been some really great conversations. Baird kicked us off with the CT Green Bank, which is a resource here that has helped many schools in Connecticut actually, convert, either add solar to their plan or convert to solar, and has enabled many districts across the state to save a good amount of money while reducing greenhouse gas emissions, et cetera. So we are happy to have connected Jason Casey with the Green Bank. Hopefully they were to have had conversations even this week, which I've not yet heard the results of, but and I'm imagining if Lydia had been here, maybe she would have had an update, but we are hoping that they will be able to move forward. Then, of course, Latimer Lane as one example of a school that the roof was purpose built to allow solar installation. So we know that the spirit is there. The plan of the buildings has solar in the future. We're hoping we can accelerate that in a way that does not require any output of cash from the town. And there will be more details of that moving forward. So from an energy perspective, that is what's top of mind, I think. But Baird, please jump in if there's anything that I missed there.
No, I think you did a great job. I think the big points are no money from the town, saving money going forward, and that this Connecticut Green Bank has some really impressive incentives for schools to put solar panels on. And I hope we are able to take advantage of that and to lower the amount of money that we pay to Eversource, and to relieve taxpayers of having to pay quite so much money for the school's electric fees.
Yeah, I really echo what Baird just said there to say, the really exciting piece is incremental funding that the state legislature has made available to municipalities specifically to install solar at schools, whether it's on the roof or canopies over car parks, et cetera. This funding is first come, first funded, and will expire, or not expire, but is expected to be fully assigned by February of next year. So there is some time sensitivity to this. So if the district was looking for the right moment, this does seem to be that. And again, it's at no financial cost, upfront cost from the town, and we would only move forward the project would only move forward if the finances made sense, if the return on investment was there over time. So really excited to have seen the ball rolling with the school on this.
Jamie, this is
Yeah.
a question of ignorance.
Go for it.
Could you fund this with a bond issue?
Yeah, that's definitely one way of doing it.
I mean,
This would be
I would think that a bank has to borrow at a probably higher rate than a town, which means we would keep that VIG, whatever that spread is. I mean, I guess, right, well, you have munis are probably at 3% right now if you had to issue them. And I think a lot of people would, buy a municipal bond that they knew was backing a solar project in the town.
yeah, I mean, that is definitely one funding.
I just don't know.
method,
I don't know
for
if it's
sure.
legal. I don't know if it can be done, but I would
Yeah.
imagine, for whatever cost it is to put solar panels up, if we did a bond issue, we could,
Yeah.
we're always putting capital back into the bonds anyways in the budget. So it would be similar to what we already do.
I mean,
That would be no money out of
definitely-
pocket for the town.
Right. Definitely an option. What's interesting about the Green Bank is that this works through a power purchase agreement, and
Okay.
they actually are the ones sort of managing under our directive, under the town's directive, but managing that whole process from start to finish, everything from the request for proposals to the actual installation. And so it does not require the day-to-day project management and handholding of any of our staff in town.
Okay.
Of course, again, full staff oversight, fully
Mhm.
decision-making, living fully with Jason and Matt Curtis and such as it would relate to the schools, but not as much involvement if not desired on a day-to-day basis. And I know,
Gotcha.
Mark, you can probably even speak a little bit more knowledgeably about funding via bonds versus a Green Bank PPA arrangement.
I'm certainly not well versed in municipal fund, finances and what the implications might be of bonding. But at first glance, it seems to me like that Michael's right. It would be a probably better outcome. I think,
Potentially.
as you say, PPA, somebody else owns it, somebody else sort of insures it and manages it, and we just buy the power. But they're probably keeping a profit that we could get if we wanted to own the thing. And this issue of towns used to have to do PPAs because they couldn't realize the tax credit. That's no longer an issue, at least for the next few months. What the investment tax credit is going away anyway. But the rules are that if you do solar and you're a nonprofit, you get that tax credit paid to you as a check. So I think Michael's idea makes sense, but at this point we have to be quick.
Yeah, I mean, I could check around with the finance committee of how they do it. I know how they're structured. I don't know how Simsbury goes about doing a bond issue. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to do that.
And I think the biggest issue at this point is that because of what's going on at the federal level, the tax credits are going away. And if you want to get a project done, you have to start construction by July of next year, and it has to be in service by the end of 2027. And there's some other provisions about safe harboring a portion of the expenditure that I'm not really in the weeds of, but timing is very, very tight. So I doubt there'll be time to do any kind of bonding for at least for this project.
But certainly
but
for future.
you could always borrow the money to do the project and issue the bonds to get rid of the note, right? So I mean, like the bond issue might take time, but you might only be holding a note for the period from when you decide at the town level that you're going to issue the bonds, right? So you issue the bonds, you reduce the note, the bonds are outstanding. You accumulate capital from the savings to pay the bond off in say 20 years, and you're paying 3% on the whole project. And I mean, I can't imagine the Green Bank. Now, I'm not saying I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Sure.
It's ignorant. I just can't imagine they're running a project for 3%, right? It would strike me that it's the type of thing that if I'm happy to talk to the guys and some people in finance just to see what it takes. They might say I'm an idiot. I don't know. Maybe it's crazy, but
It's certainly not crazy because many municipalities do exactly what you're suggesting. And I'm curious, Chris, I'll put you on the spot now. I don't know if you would know. and actually maybe Mark, you would know as well, but when, for example, the skating rink solar went in, was that through a bond or was that through a PPA, or how did that end up?
That was a PPA.
It was a PPA. Okay.
Yeah, that we managed internally.
Okay. Okay. So certainly an option. And Michael, I'd say we have, many schools at the moment. You really have Latimer ready to go. Tarrafil ready to go. Tooten nearly ready or ready. And then the middle school, Henry James, will have to be, that roof needs to be replaced in the near future and will be replaced apparently in 3 different stages. So even if we, in the interest of time, to Mark's point, because we are trying to scrape that last barrel of tax savings from the federal tax credits, even if we enter into a PPA for, say, Latimer, Tooten, and or Tarrafil with the Green Bank, getting the answers in place about bond funding could be a very good, could be very useful for this committee to share that information. So love that you're willing to look into that, and,
Yeah, I'd be
and we
happy
can
to.
start. Yeah, thank you.
And the other thing is, I mean, does the Green Bank have only one way to do this? I mean, if their project management skills are real valuable for the town, do they have a way that we can finance it and we can just pay them for their project management to put it in and get it running? I mean, again, I think yeah, I mean, it'd be good to know, because we'll probably have more than one building down the road that solar panels make sense for. So if we have a plan, and look, interest rates are going to go down, right? It's going to get cheaper in a year to do this. And, so I don't know. I mean, I think there's an opportunity there to not only get savings on energy, but to get it, even more significant savings to the budget. We did it that way. So that's a thought. I'll check into it. I'll pick up the phone and call some folks in finance and see what what the process would be if it made sense.
Yeah.
2 cents from me, Mike. Just a couple of things. I mean, I think for non-school buildings, I think what you're doing, and if you could investigate that, that'd be awesome. I think for this, there's special incentives for schools, right?
Oh, okay.
Which make it really attractive. And my understanding is that it's actually the Green Bank that owns the solar panels. So when they install, they become the owners of it, and then they broker the price that Simsbury would pay, which would be lower than what we pay to Eversource currently. So, I mean, I think for larger projects that are not quite as time sensitive and are not, privy to this special incentive, I think it makes a lot of sense. But I think for schools, I think the PPA and the CT Green Bank Solar Map Plus program is an amazing deal that I hope our schools will take advantage of.
Yeah. But again, it doesn't need to be an either or. So let's please, ask those questions, get that information together, because there are many more schools to come.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check into it and I'll get back to you as soon as I can get some info.
And I'm also curious to find out, what are some of the things that we have that's maybe similar, maybe it wasn't a solar project, but similarly funded through bonds, and what that process has looked like, just so as we're thinking it through, we can figure out what does it mean from a timing perspective. Like, for example, if we know Henry James, I'm making this up, I'm making this up. These are not numbers that have been quoted, but let's say Henry James roof is getting done in 2027. And then therefore you would wait a year before you installed solar. So it would be eligible for solar maybe in 2028. Like, we can start planning back. Well, the bond process would have to begin in this month of 2020, whatever, in order for us to be able to fund that. So would love to understand, how that sequence usually works, how the tri-board's involved, if it is for schools, how the Board of Finance and such has worked this in the past. If you have that knowledge, and if not, we could always, seek it as a committee.
All right. It's good to know. I said, I'll reach out and see what I find, and I'll get back as soon as I get the info.
Appreciate that. Cool. Neat. And then when it comes to waste, or sorry, I should say anything else on energy before I move on? Mike, Baird, anything?
But just I'll float one little thing. I
Sure.
passed along to Mark and Jamie, just in thinking about where we are with energy. Tom Roy, I think with Mark's assistance, helped to write up a brilliant plan back in 2016 to try to put solar panels on our closed landfill down in Walcott. And so I passed along some information to Chris about some of the new legislation that's taken place. My understanding, and Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that part of the reason that it may not have flown was that at that point there was a real strong limit on the number of megawatts you could have in the project, and since 2024, that's been expanded greatly. So I passed along some information to Chris just to investigate. I'm sure he hasn't had time yet to do that because I just did it yesterday or 2 days ago. But anyway, I think there's real potential there for us to think about. And I think with some of the things that Michael was talking about in terms of bonds and just how to go about that, that there's some real incredible advantages that Tom pointed out back in 2018, 2016, 2017, 2018, that I think would be even more so for our town today. So
Yeah, so I did talk to Tom about that.
yeah,
So there was an RFP put out at one point that did include the landfill as an option. I'm just making a note here to make sure I make notes on this. And it was taken off the table for technical reasons because of issues with the landfill. One, and then two, the airport shot it down. Let's say that's probably a bad analogy for an airport, but
Those words aren't supposed to go in the same sentence.
they objected strongly, and that led to it being pulled.
okay.
So now it was a three-way RFP with one of the options, which worked, was putting it on our Department of Public Works headquarters our roofs, which is what we have now.
Got it.
So I believe that RFP went through, and that's what turned into the solar that we have on the roof now.
Okay. Oh, thanks. I mean, good to know. I'm sorry it didn't go through, just because I think, what is it? There's something like 60 acres
Well, that's the whole facility, but the actual mound is not nearly that big.
Oh, okay. But anyway.
And it is at the foot or the tail of the runway, depending what direction you're landing.
Okay.
And there were concerns about reflection and sunlight, etc. So
Okay.
Oh,
that's
that
where that's
that was the objection from the airport. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Thank you for checking on that.
Yep, absolutely.
And then I know there have been some questions about the Nod Road solar proposal, which Holly is not here today from planning. She did say that she had not yet been aware of it. I understand it's something that is actually going to, the authority would not be the town per se, but the siting council from the state, given the scope of the project. But that is something that once the planning commission has discussed, or I'm sure we will hear a debrief from Holly in this forum. I think that closes us out on energy. And we can move on to waste. So regarding waste, Jen and Baird, I know, Jen, you were hoping to have received the shopping list from the $5,000 grant that was awarded for the purchase of the special bins at the elementary and high school to help facilitate more juice and milk carton recycling. I appreciate you've been following up with Squadron Line, the janitorial staff, to get from them, what is actually, what they want to actually purchase. Um, I don't, have you had any luck there, or are we in a holding pattern a little bit?
Holding pattern.
Okay.
I think I reminded them on Monday or Tuesday, so I don't know. I know this is it's a tough time, right? It's the first couple of weeks of school here. I might wait till Monday again, and maybe I'll go say hi to Krista.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And Baird, how about at the high school? Is the staff able to, do we even know how those grant funds are being distributed? Who's getting, does that just go into the
Good
town
question.
treasury?
Just a little bit of information about that. So on
Yeah.
Tuesday, September 9th, Bonnie Anderson, who's the head of the all the kitchens in the district, and Neil Sullivan and I will have a little meeting just on distribution of funds, how they're going to be distributed, whether we're going to focus just on Squadron and the high school, or whether we're going to try to implement across all schools. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but we'll see. Anyway, I mean, there's money to play with, so that's great. I mean, it's a good chunk of money. So that's one thing. And then two new things at the high school. So our administration is very excited about a Clink program that we started. So Clink, as you know, is a program at Stop and Shop in West Simsbury, which uh, puts money into your bank account, given how many bottles and cans you put there. And so we now have 5 containers around the high school to collect bottles and cans, and it directly feeds into an account for Simsbury High School. So we are raising money for the school um, directly through our recycling program. And I think I've got some kids who are going to help me collect cans and bottles, but we'll see how that goes. Um, so that's a new development there in terms of getting that up and going. So that's where we are with waste.
Great. And Baird, I know for just the residential Clink, like if you or I were to use the Clink program, you need a bag, correct? So is it, how does it work at the school level? Is there a special collection bin or bag or something that you're still supposed to use, or?
Yeah, great question. So Clink, so basically the school set up a school account, and they are sending us a set of fobs so that a number of people at the school can take the cans over. So it's not just one person who can do it. So we'll take bags of cans and bottles over to there and deposit it and use the fobs that Clink has provided. What is not there yet, this exists in Maine and New York at this point, but not yet in Connecticut, is what they call their Give program. So what we would like to get to, and I hope we will, Clink is saying perhaps by January, is that families of Simsbury High School can also, when they go to Clink and bring their bottles and cans, that they can donate that the funds that come from that directly to the high school. So we're not there yet, but we're hoping to get there so that the school can benefit, and it becomes a big fundraiser where families can support the school by recycling. And I think that's kind of exciting.
Oh, it's awesome. I didn't even realize that was up and running in other states. So curious to hear when that might be live here in Connecticut.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anything else related to waste? Jen, we're probably due to check in with Jeffrey Hall at Squadron to see how the student council education signage and recycling program is getting back into the swing of things, or if it needs support.
Right. I was remembering that he had said they don't meet till mid-September, I think, maybe
I think
even.
because I think there might be elections or something along those lines, or
Right.
yeah.
Right. So yeah, happy to check in with him on that as well. I copied him on the Cartons email, didn't really hear much, but not necessarily expecting to just yet.
Sounds good.
Relatedly to waste, I don't know, Bayard, you may have mentioned this at a previous meeting, but you had mentioned that there was an interest in maybe putting some sort of recycling guide for businesses together.
Yep.
Okay. And then also we're pulling together an article for the land trust.
Right.
Maybe you mentioned that, I'm not sure.
No, I did not let those things out, but yes, if the great thing about the article for the land trust, it goes to the whole town. So hopefully Jen can educate everybody, which would be awesome. And then because Jen and I were hoping to have a small business forum, I kind of dropped the ball a little bit on that one. I reached out to the health district to see if they would partner with us, because the businesses asked for that, to do something that combined, kind of how businesses can donate food, what's legal and what's not legal in that realm. And it's a little bit sticky. Jen probably knows more about this than I do. But I called them back in August and got no response, and so I need to follow up with them to see what's going on with that. But along with that, I'm hoping that the October newsletter is going to be all about recycling, 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 and everything that you can recycle in Simsbury. And so I sent that to Joe and Jen to take a look at. And I have some questions, Chris, for you and I guess for Tom, who's our recycling coordinator, on just, with the waste disposal days, like what if that actually gets recycled? What doesn't? Does it just get, disposed of responsibly, or is anything there recycled? And then of the things at the town bulk center or dump, are all the things there, like textiles, actually recycled, or are they just disposed of? And so it just, questions. Just I want to be really clear with all the people in the town, for people who would like to recycle, where to recycle everything from electronics to clothing to everything. So Joe and Jen, especially since you guys are specialists in this, if you could give me your feedback, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
Textiles, your point on clothing is especially a good one, because I do feel like that's a huge opportunity, because there's a lot of need, as families are purging closets and things like that. There's things that just can't be donated, and at the same time, if you're throwing them into landfills, it's part of the problem. Versus, so I love that you're getting all of that information together, Baird.
Does the
Yeah.
transfer station have a textile drop box, or is it just the textiles that are donated to the swap shop, the swap shack?
Chris, do you know what's at the bulk waste center in terms of textile collection?
I don't think there is any.
Online it says there is.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Yeah, I don't think there is.
Okay.
I can look quickly here.
You know where there's a lot of good information on what's taken at the transfer station is in that RFP, Chris.
Yeah. So we do have the fee schedule online on the town website. And then there's a brochure there as well. So if you click through both of those, you'll get the full list of everything that we take.
I mean, the EPA quotes textiles at about 6% of municipal waste typically. So it's not insignificant.
I'm pretty sure the CSWA, part of the Capital Region CROG, the solid waste. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. CSWA is the acronym. I can't think of the name, but it's the subcommittee of the Capital Region Council of Governments, and they had a vendor that they vetted for textile collection for member municipalities. So it might, I mean, I know, Bayer, you're putting together a list for what's currently offered, but I agree with Jamie's point. I think is what you're getting at is we should be collecting textiles. We should be advertising that we're collecting textiles. And I think it's free for Simsbury to offer that at the transfer station. And potentially even, they might even be giving a rebate per ton of textiles collected.
Can you pass that information along to Chris?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be good.
And
'Cause
then
it's-
Jen, are those going to be, are those textiles then being recycled?
Yeah, there's a very large controversy over what happens with textiles, but
Yeah.
yes, the materials that can be reused are probably shipped overseas to be used. And then the materials that aren't really in usable form are shredded and used as, wiping rags or
Insulation.
remanufactured for insulation or
Yeah.
carpet padding and those sort of materials.
Okay.
Yeah, because it seems like the two biggest holes. I mean, we do a lot of recycling here, and there are a lot of possibilities, but the two biggest holes are textiles and then food waste, right? And obviously, Blue Earth does that, but at a fee. And it'd be nice if we could figure out how to make it more accessible for our town to both, deal with textiles and food waste.
Yeah, we do take food waste at the bulky waste facility.
Yeah, it's hard to take food waste to the bulky waste. It's hard to take a big because it's heavy, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think there.
Well, and there's definitely opportunity to promote that. I mean, my neighbors don't know about that. I had, there was a pilot happening a few month pilot back in April. And I had to share that with them, but I don't know if a lot of people know about it. So I think there's an opportunity to really promote that. Even with like a giveaway with some kitchen counter collection containers and a sleeve of 20 pack of bags or something to kind of get folks started.
I thought they removed that from the transfer station.
I checked on it a few weeks ago and it was still there.
Oh, it is?
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen it myself, but I spoke with USA and they said it's still there.
Huh. Well, I'll check this weekend.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
Let me know what you
also-
find out.
Yeah, and especially verify that they intend to keep it there because maybe they just haven't. Maybe they intend to shut it down, but if they do intend to keep it there, we could do a better job of publicizing it for sure.
Yeah.
Especially
they didn't say
buried in the
anything about
newsletter,
it
things
being
like that.
temporary or taking it away. So I think they're planning on keeping it.
Oh, great. Okay.
But well, I would wonder what they actually do with the food waste also. That might be part of the follow-up question. And then my last question, in terms of people taking it and making it more convenient, I don't particularly like these, but there are bags that you can buy that are like the ones green, Blue Earth use. If people take food waste to the transfer station, can they have that food waste in some sort of compostable bag? I mean, that just might make it easier for people and maybe a little less messy. I don't know. It's just a question I have.
Good idea.
For US, if they're the ones hauling.
Yeah.
and my guess is they're hauling it to Quantum and Southington, which is an anaerobic digester. I don't think they want
Okay.
compostable bags, but I also just suggested that as well with with the free little giveaway to incentivize residents to participate. But it does keep it clean on your countertop, and if Quantum and USA do not want those bags, then we can provide education about how to keep your canister clean, and a little baking soda to prevent fruit flies.
Fruit flies.
There's lots of little tips and tricks, but that would need to be kind of like an organized messaging going out.
Maybe it's something we can work with them on promoting and actually doing like a quick FAQ, maybe some sort of infographics, etc. All right. Anything else on waste?
Baird, when do you need that reviewed by, that recycling brochure list?
Yesterday?
Okay.
No, when you have time over the next couple of days, if you have time, just to take a look at it. And I'm really I really want to make it local. So like, at Weldon's, you can drop off batteries, we have a couple paint stores where you can drop off paint. We have,
Clink it big white.
yeah. And I don't know if, Best Buy.
Sorry, Stop and Shop.
And it is that Canton or is that Avon? I don't even know where that is. But they take back all kinds of electronics, as does Staples over there. So there are all kinds of just really local things. So I'm really trying to focus on the local part of that, like not pie in the sky stuff, but just like where our people can take stuff if they want to, deal with it responsibly.
Green Monster in West Hartford, that's not quite that local, but they do electronics recycling.
Okay, good to know.
Where can I take CFL light bulbs?
Who does?
Where can I take? I have a pile of CFL light bulbs that I'm training.
Those taking them
Home
about
Depot.
or Home Depot. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to, I think you
I was
have to
wondering
have
if there
them in
was
a
something
bag.
local.
Make sure you bag them up or something. I know I went once and I wasn't prepared. So.
Okay. So Home Depot has a good recycling program also?
Well, for CFLs.
Okay, I haven't looked at their stuff, but I'll take a look at what they have.
Does anyone local? Do you know if anyone local does it?
I haven't found
Best
it.
Buy, right? Doesn't Best Buy take them?
Maybe.
Oh, do they? That'd be great.
The other thing for this list is books going to the library's book sale.
Yeah. Chris, can you put up the list that I sent you?
That you just shared with me?
Yep. I shared it with you at 6:20 or something like that.
Yeah.
You can people can see what's there.
Okay, so this is new for me.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I just wanted to comment because Susan, you mentioned electronics. I think, or at least I thought, electronics were also taken at the transfer station free and no need for a permit per state law.
But
yeah, I think that's true. So what I tried to do was, and this obviously needs formatting. Is not formatted at all. I just try to get the information. So the first part is like just household, like what you can do, what you can't. Chris, can you scroll down just a little bit? And the second is a little too much. Electronics, so like Staples and Best Buy. But if there are other places that take electronics, that's great. And then you can see under that at the bulky waste center on Wolcott, they take newspapers, batteries, paint, junk mail, paints, mattresses, box springs, waste oil, leaves, and clothing. But maybe we'll take the clothing off there. Then there are a couple paint stores in Avon that take paint back.
Mhm.
Food scraps, basically Blue Earth is our main thing, but also the bulky waste center. And then household batteries, Weldon's does that. And then Chris, the conversation I want to have with you or with Tom is just in the hazardous waste of those things. Are any of them actually recycled, or is that just things that you dispose of responsibly?
No, there's some recycling going on. I just don't know what specifically it is, and I'll find out.
Okay, if you could find that out, because I'm trying to make like categories, and then Chris, can you scroll down a little bit more? And then Jen turned me on to a really cool website that I think Deep has. Is that their page of like, so you can't recycle this, but here are places where you can reuse it. So things like gardening materials, take it back to your gardening center, metal hangers, take it back to your cleaners. Books and textbooks, as Mark was saying, take it to your local library or school. Anyway, it just goes through all those different things that are really annoying that you have in the house. It's like, can I recycle this? Yes or no? Anyway, I'm just trying to put together as much as I can, and I would appreciate any help or thoughts that you have. Those two websites are the ones that Jen sent from Deep that are really wonderful about really hard to recycle things. And then there's a small thing for small businesses, but Jen, I didn't see a lot. If you can find any more on small businesses, I'd really appreciate it. I mean, it seems like the biggest thing is food waste, but I couldn't find much more than that because small businesses are so varied, right? You have everything from companies selling clothing to companies selling, I don't know, paints, right? And those are totally different worlds. And so I think it's hard to create like a compendium for recycling for that. But if you have thoughts, let me know.
That's a huge resource you're putting together. So I'm personally very curious to see it. Thank you for leading.
Mayor,
Anything else?
just an FYI on that RFP for the transfer station, which I think Chris, you might have put together. It
Yeah.
has statistics like how many batteries they collected, how many mattresses they collected, and it tells you where they go too.
Oh, Joe, can you copy and paste the URL on that and send it to us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't say anything.
And Jamie, before we close out, can we say a couple of things about Sunday?
Yeah. So happy, and let's move into open forum and kick it off with Sunday.
Is Mark still with us?
I am.
Yes.
Oh, good. Hi, hey, Mark.
Hello.
You want to say anything about Sunday?
So SUNDAY is a big celebration on the two words on September 21st. It's a national event. It's being sponsored, I think, primarily by Third Act, and they're organizing events all over the country. The big one, and really the whole weekend, Saturday the 20th and Sunday the 21st. The big event on Sunday is at Central Connecticut State University, and there'll be lots of tabling and music and talks. And the idea is to celebrate the sun, particularly the potential of solar energy. Bill McKibben just came out with a new book, which is just terrific, by the way, called "Here Comes the Sun." If anybody wants one book to understand sort of the clean energy revolution, it's very readable. It's a slender book, but it's really, really good. And so they're organizing, and towns all over the place are doing events, local things to showcase particular solar projects or clean energy things. So I know we thought about maybe trying to organize something around the Tobacco Valley Solar or something in town, but at the very least, folks should put it on their calendar and either go to Central Connecticut State University. I can give you I'll put the website in the chat where you can look at all of the events going on.
Great. And just on follow up, I had proposed doing a set of like just kind of TikTok-y or YouTube-y kind of videos of people with solar panels and just quickly like, have you had a good experience? How much money have you saved? And I think we have 8 or 9 people now on our list of people who can do this. I need a videographer. I need someone with video skills. The Simsbury community media is trying to find us people. But at this point, I need a videographer. So if anyone has friends or kids, Jamie, is your 9th grader like a talented videographer?
He's a sophomore.
Chris, you've got kids about that age too.
Is there a club or anything at the school?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in the high school.
No, unfortunately, no. But there's a class that does a little bit of it. But anyway, I think basically any kid who has a good eye and a cell phone could do this. It's not fancy. We just need like a good teenager who has made kind of interesting films that are not boring and we can put up quickly and highlight all the wonderful people in our town who have done this. So if anyone has friends, neighbors, kids who might be interested, let me know.
Baird, there's a film club at the middle school.
Okay.
I know the instructor for the elementary school, and I can connect with him to see. But you're saying, I mean, they're using real like videographer equipment. And I agree with you. You really just need someone with a cell phone and then to be able to
good
put
iPhone
it together, to edit it together, right?
Yep. But if at the middle school, I honestly think middle school kids could do this with a teacher. If they want to take this on, and I think really short videos. I don't know, Susan Olson just emailed today about how much money she was saving with her solar panels. Just quickly, what's your name? How long have you had cell phones? What company did you use? And how much money have you been saving? Right? And boom, that's a video, and we're gonna put it up on Facebook. And I want 5 of those or 6 of those. So if you'd be willing to reach out to the middle school teacher, that'd be awesome.
You should make it someone's capstone.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to dictate people's capstones, Chris. I wish I could. But I'm not. That is not one of my powers.
I mean, we could also put something, Chris. I know that there's we have to, if it comes from the Simsbury Sustainability Committee Facebook page, we have to follow whatever town guidance exists.
Yeah.
But we could put a request out there, and say, hey, budding videographers of Simsbury.
Yeah, if you write something up, we could post it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, and then I can share that, in some of the pages they get traction with, the mom and families groups and stuff like that, and say, and there could be, there's also adult videographers out there. Granted, we don't have a budget, so this would be a volunteer project, and so we would just have to be clear about that.
Yeah, and to Baird's question to me, are there permits or permission issues and things like that? So
yeah, I'm guessing there's a standard waiver that the town has that we would have people sign so that we have the rights to their material.
I wouldn't assume we had that, so I'm going to try to figure that out.
Okay, great.
Jamie, I'll write something up, and if you can send that around.
Sure. Yeah.
Good ideas where to send that around, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay.
Anything else for open forum?
I wanted to ask about the energy plan. Has a the updated final version gone out? I mean, I sort of was not here for 3 months. I couldn't find it.
That is what we're saying, the sustainability plan that I mentioned at the top of the
Yeah,
call
that's
that
what I
we'll bring to the, yeah. I can share a link to a working draft.
Okay, so
and-
it's still a working draft.
And then we'll bring it to the Board of Selectmen in October. We
Okay.
are seeking their endorsement. There may be questions, feedback, etc.
Yeah, I'm
But-
not sure I have the most updated one. So if
Sure.
you could share that, that would be great.
Certainly. Anything else? All right. And then in that case-
Jamie.
Yes.
Just before you should mention that you did something really wonderful, which is to submit to the tri-board so that we
Oh,
can
goodness. Thank
get
you,
stuff out
Barry.
there.
We did mention this a couple months ago, but just closing this out for folks, or for those that might not have been with us a couple months ago. We were kindly invited by the Board of Finance to share some of what this committee has been working on. And so it's not just us, it's all committees in town. We're asked to share 6 initiatives, some pictures to, to be included in the Board of Finance's annual report. The submission was for early this month. The report, I believe, is published in the early spring, late winter, early spring. I could be wrong about that, Chris. You might know better. So we will not see it for a few months now, but it was really a great moment in time. And thank you to Baird for your strong editing skills to pull the quick blurbs together. But we were able to share a lot of what this, what all of us on this call right now have been working on. So whether it's the waste initiatives that we talked about, getting that $5,000 grant for Simsbury schools, the Simsbury sustainability plan, connecting the schools with the Green Bank and hoping to advance solar, the tour of Ethel Walker dormitories to see, a state-of-the-art net zero facility, residential facility here in town, and how that could potentially spark people's interest for their own homes. We also share details on the fair, that amazing our second annual fair that we co-hosted with the library again this year. And that's the pictures that we submitted were from the fair because, it had such great energy to it. I might be missing something off the top of my head, but we did share. And of course the not solarized CT, the help me out, the Power Smart, thank you, with the heat pumps. So the educational session, we have the library, the partnership to help people who are looking to install heat pumps in their homes. So we were able to share information about that as well. So really just showing to the town and memorializing that in the Board of Finance's annual report, the effort that everyone here has been putting in. And of course they ask, how many people do you have? And I believe they even ask salaries and budgets. And I was like, we have no budget. We have no salaries. These are all volunteers. So thank you to each and every one of you who makes all of this possible. All right. And on that note, do I have a move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Michael, second.
Wonderful. Anyone opposed? No. All right. In that case, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town,
bringing us together through local programming,
education, and live broadcasts.
SCM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community,
ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings,
and celebrating milestones
like our high school graduations.
But today, SCM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions.
And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SCM receives less revenue,
even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open,
continues to educate our youth,
and keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills,
helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive
for generations to come.
Visit our website
Or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media,
where your town,
Your schools,
and your government come together.